Governor Maura Healey, Lieutenant Governor Lisa Driscoll, and Transportation Secretary Gina Fiandaca announced on Monday that they have hired former Long Island Railroad President Phillip Eng to be the next general manager of the MBTA to help turn around the troubled transit system beginning on April 10th. Governor Healey held a press conference at the Riverside T Stop.
He comes to us with nearly 40 years of experience as an engineer, as a transportation professional at the federal, state, and local level. This has included serving as president of the Long Island Railroad and interim president of New York City Transit. Phil has managed multi-billion-dollar budgets, tens of thousands of employees, but what really stood out to all of us in the search process is that he has a proven track record of taking on challenging problems, taking over the reins of transit systems in times of crises, and turning them around. He stepped into the role of interim president of the New York City Transit during a transitional period when the aging infrastructure of the system was reaching a crisis point and needed to be restored. Phil dove in headfirst to this challenge, initiating something called the Subway Action Plan, which dramatically turned around performance and reduced the number of safety incidents on the subway lines. Later, he took over as president of the Long Island Railroad. This was at a time when the system was experiencing its worst on-time performance in decades. Once again, Phil jumped in, brought the railroad up to where it needed to be, including having the most consistent on-time performance in its history. He did this by prioritizing communication and not shying away from innovative solutions. That included installing new technology on all trains so that arrival times on the platforms and in the mobile app were more accurate. And these are just examples of what we know Phil will do here and why we have picked him for this important job.
Today, we really are celebrating. This is the start of a new day at the MBTA. It's a day of hope and a day of promise, and a day when we start to build the team who will put the MBTA on a path forward to being safer and more reliable. We did evaluate a variety of individuals and their record of accomplishments, and there were many who seemed qualified. But what stood out to us about Phil Eng, he has a passion for public transportation. He has the skills, the knowledge, the operational experience, the financial accomplishments, and he is clearly going to be someone who will hit the ground running. The search committee wanted someone who could walk in the door on day one and size up the situation. Phil Eng, far and away, is someone who has the experience to gauge quickly what needs to be done to transform the MBTA, and then bring the workforce along with him to be successful. He understands that all of us have a sense of urgency, that there's been growing frustration about the speed restrictions, the condition of stations, project delays, and the vital need to hire staff to get new vehicles into service. Phil understands all of that and more because for more than 35 years, he's held senior management roles in the field of transportation in a tough urban environment, just like Boston, with old infrastructure, just like Boston, and in a transit area that millions of people rely upon every day, just like Boston. And Phil, as a leader, has managed over 50,000 employees. So he's basically done it all.
I take great pride in public service, and I cherish the opportunity to again work in public transportation, as it is vital to the public, their quality of life, and our economy. But when it's not functioning the way it should, when it's not safe and it's not reliable, everyone suffers. It's clear that the MBTA service is not at the level that it needs to be, and it hasn't been that way for far too long. It's time for a new way of doing business at the T. Being an engineer, so whenever I see problems, I have a need to solve it. I have a need to fix it. The status quo is not acceptable. And moving forward, we will be innovative, open to new ideas, and think of outside-of-the-box solutions. But this is also about bringing back the basics. Our job starts with making sure the T is safe and reliable, especially when it comes to communication. As a commuter myself, I know how frustrating it is when you can't get accurate information about when your train is arriving when it's delayed and how long that delay may be. This is an issue I confronted head-on at Long Island Railroad, and I intend to do the same here. We owe it to our customers to give them accurate and straightforward information so they can plan their commutes. There's no question that the challenges before us are great, and we will tackle them together. With a strong team, a sense of urgency, and an unwavering commitment to customer service, I know we can and will overcome them. It's not going to happen overnight, but my pledge to the people of Massachusetts is that you will see meaningful, measurable steps being taken and progress being made in short order.
I absolutely applaud the governor for making this hire. He looks amazing. This is the first I've heard from him or about him, but it looks like he knows what he's getting into and has the experience. I certainly will be supportive as a local elected official, as I'm sure the others will as well, about the hard decisions that need to be made, including investments that need to be made, including investments in the 3 Newton commuter rail stops in order to make them accessible for all. People do not realize when they go down those rickety-looking steps, it really is like something out of another century. We really do deserve better and are demanding better.